very good morning. You are more than welcome to yet another episode 74 of the Coffee at 11 show, brought to you by wigwam.ie SME Peer Support. Delighted that you've chosen to join us. Thank you for being here. And in particular, I want to thank my very special guest, very interesting man this morning, Steve Spade. Steve, you're welcome to the Coffee at 11 show. Please say hello and show us your coffee mug.
Hey guys, how are you? Actually, I didn't get a chance to make a coffee yet, so I've got this bag here. So good morning. It's better than making coffee. It's quicker and it's easier. Guys, there's my coffee mug there.
Fantastic.
Black coffee as always.
Excellent, Steve. Excellent. Well, listen, you're very welcome. That's some entrance. I'm looking forward to see how Katrina treats that in the replay. Fantastic. Thank you for that, Steve. So, folks, that gives you a flavour for what's coming down the track. Let me just tell you a little bit about the man before we bring himself in. In the introduction, I said yesterday on social media, let's meet the man who was dropped into the River Shannon in a box which had been nailed shut, right? Who drove a classic car, completely blindfolded, was burnt at the stake in King John's Castle, and was almost incinerated in a staged explosion in Portrush, Northern Ireland last year. Right? And he's here today. Thank you for being here. I tell you what I like about Steve. He's a master magician, regarded internationally as Ireland's Houdini, according to the Irish Times. But apart from being a magician, an escape artist, an illusionist, Steve is also a TV magic consultant, a hypnotist, and a mind reader with extraordinary talent. And he had me pick up a brand new deck of cards yesterday. Look, not even out of the pack, because I have no idea what's going to happen, but by all accounts, it's going to be great. Steve Spade, you are more than welcome to the Coffee at 11 show. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. And going to go to you now, if you don't mind, for the next few minutes. And I'd like you to take us all the way back to that little boy. What formed Steve Spade? Where did the interest in magic come from, etc.? Steve, thank you.
Hey guys, how are you? Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on the show. Yeah, it all started. I mean, it's a hobby that became a career for sure. I've been doing magic. I thought I was like 5, 6, 7, kind of getting magic sets for Christmas, birthday, all that kind of stuff. But the reality was, I spoke to an aunt and she moved away. And when she said, when I was about 3 or 4, my very first trick was a finger chopper. I'm sure you've seen it, a plastic finger chopper. And I was an annoying kid going around chopping off people's fingers. So that's where it started. My dad was a mechanic, so there was always stuff being taken apart and put back together. And I would have watched him intensely with that. And I think that kind of I suppose it was just being kind of curious of everything. I was definitely the kid that, probably like the weird kid that just took things apart just to see how they worked. And I suppose before I even knew what magic was, that kind of level of interest in things was kind of there. And I suppose that's kind of where even now with the consultancy and different things, that idea is kind of still part of me.
Fabulous stuff. And back in school, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Limerick? And will you tell us about those school days, please?
Yeah, I grew up in Limerick. I went to art school at Riche. I always had a deck of cards under the table, and I always listened intently, but I always had a deck of cards too. Maybe a bit of a messer in school, but always did my studies and stuff. But definitely an entertainer. I was always one with a joke or a trick or whatever. So I'm sure my teachers loved me.
And whether your teachers loved you or not, I'm sure the pupils loved you. I love that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like as the time went on, and I started doing more magic, and then when I did a few of the slots on RTE, the school had me back, and I met some of the students again, and myself and Kamal Abraham, who was Mr. World at the time, another Limerick man. We were both in the same year, same class, so we came back in and we talked about like having alternative careers, because he was a model and he was doing his presenting, and I was a magician and illusionist, and to see the vice principal and stuff, kind of like, oh, he was only a messer when he was here. It was it was a nice little flip, and we got art school Riche scarf and everything. It was a really nice day actually, just to go back and see the school after 10 years or more.
Isn't that just lovely? That's just lovely. Well done. I love that. I love the way people go off. We all journey through school together. People go off and they take different paths, and then it's appropriate at times for schools to invite people back to say, look, basically your man was a messer, look at him now. and in that way you can be a role model to others. So great stuff, really, really great.
But you want a balance anyway, you know, between, I mean, when I say master, I mean master in you know, always good fun with my friends, but I mean, you do your studies, and I mean, I went to college after that, and I did a degree and all that kind of stuff, so I always had the magic, but the magic, I always wanted to be a magician when I was a kid. It was like, what do you want to be? A magician. And for a very short time, it was a fireman. But yeah, so it was something dangerous anyway. It had to be. So I suppose I was never really a standard magician in that way. I suppose I've always trying to adapt and do different styles of magic. That's where the escape and the magician and daredevil side of things came from.
And when you mentioned the fact you wanted to be a magician most of the time and then a fireman in part, you know, and now that we know how your career has gone in terms of fire stunts, that's a bit sort of weird, to be honest, on, you know, the other side of the fence. Talk to us about that for a sec.
Yeah, it's true. I suppose, yeah, now the only firemen I meet are the ones going, well, look, we're here to quench you if anything goes wrong, don't worry, you know. So it's nice to have that kind of support. I suppose over the years, as the stunts have gotten bigger and escalated, I've been lucky to work with like TV stunt crews and people like that. And they're really helpful, and they really, because when you're younger, you're like, I'll just do it, it'll be fine kind of a thing. And like the adrenaline will get you over kind of a thing. My first stunt, the underwater escape, was like that. It was just something I prepared for. I read it from all the books, all the Houdini manuscripts, worked out how it would all kind of be put together, contacted a carpenter, we made the box and got on with it. It was kind of crazy at the time, but as the career has gotten, you know, more longevity and longer, I'm able to work with crews, and they're like, no, Steve, that's actually crazy what you're going to do. Maybe you should do it this way, or maybe you should just put on a bit of fire gel. That might be the best, you know, or whatever. So, you know, so it's nice just to have that, because I'm all about the effect. I'm all about the performance. So, I would take a risk here and there.
Wow, I found it a slightly unfortunate choice of word that you said, and now there's a bit of longevity in it. In other words, I didn't drown in that first box in the River Shannon. I've decided to take this thing seriously, health and safety seriously. So
Yeah.
brave man, like, you're a brave man, you know. Clearly there's methodology behind it. We're not going to go there, you know, but magic is illusion, and it's wonderful to watch. When it's done well, it's wonderful to watch. But clearly there's a you know, methodology behind it, and it's got to be absolutely planned out to the nanosecond. So so congratulations, you've obviously got that skill set within you. Love the fact, by the way, that as a kid you admitted to having the cards under the table, but at the same time you were fully focused. What did you study in college, Steve?
I did hotel management and catering and all that kind of stuff. So I did some like hotel management and chef kind of work for a little while. But I always, my brother was a chef, so that seemed like a kind of a good fit, because I could see him being successful at it, and I enjoyed it. I like cooking and stuff anyway. That'd be definitely something that doesn't fit my daredevil image. So I'm pretty good in the kitchen. Yeah, so that just, yeah, it was just something I just enjoyed. So I just decided to take it on as a degree. But I've been doing magic since forever. You know, I was doing magic. It was always a hobby. It was all, even when I was in college doing my degree, I was always doing magic. I was doing everything else. So and I was the entertainment officer in college, and, you know, in the student union and all that stuff. So, you know, yeah, for a short period of time, actually, I was the educations officer, and we used to give out condoms, you know, at like different times, rag week and stuff like that. But I'd make them vanish and reappear, and like, it's in your pocket, man. Don't worry about it. You're grand, and you know, all this kind of stuff. So I always fused magic with everything I did.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I had no idea where that conversation was going to go, but it's great. Bula bus, rapturous sound applause around the cafe. Interestingly, when you were talking about going into chefing college, right? I was imagining you there with knives, and I was sort of brought back to the finger chopping days.
I did loads of things like that. I could write a book.
I love it. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Tell me about the influence of older generations on you, of magicians or family, on your career.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I don't know him personally, but like David Copperfield, I remember watching David Copperfield with my family, and I'd sit down with my brother. My brother's older than me, and he was into it, and just because it was the thing to watch at the time. And I never knew, like, watching that I'd be a magician at that point, really. But I was, the interest was there. But I used to like watch the show, and I'd see him do a big box illusion, and then I'd be wrecking my mom's head to go to Dunn's on Saturday and get me these big boxes so I could make my own illusion or whatever. And I'd just be tormenting my family about it, pretty much. And then there was a series of time, and it's not a sadomastic thing or anything, but I used to make my siblings like tie me up because I just loved escaping from things, just like tied to whatever. So all that was there, even though I didn't really understand it. It was all already there. It was it's very weird.
It's well, it's certainly not the regular upbringing in Irish society. Let's go with that. Tell me, there's a picture on your social media. Actually, this is probably a different picture, so I won't go with that comment. Yeah, there you go. Tell us about that picture there, please, Steve.
Yeah, so that was a press shoot just before we did the stunt in Northern Ireland, and that's where that came about. And it was done by a guy, Steph Wild, who was he's a press photographer and an event photographer, and he comes to a lot of my events. There's a few in the crew that come to nearly all my events, and that was one of the press shots. So we wanted it to look kind of like a homage to Houdini in one way. And there's a lot of imagery like that, and we wanted that kind of, I suppose, a strong kind of an imagery, and it was actually Steph that came up with the concept of what the look would be. And then, I mean, the Ireland's Houdini thing, for a while I didn't really embrace it. It was said to me early on in my career, and I felt like I hadn't earned it. And then I suppose as time went on, I decided instead of just earning, just getting it, I wanted to earn it. I wanted to prove it. So that's where the challenge and the stunt in Northern Ireland came about.
I love it, and dare I say, and I mean this is the greatest of respect, you've got this lovely demeanour about you, very personable here on camera having a chat, right? And then we've got this, crazy man in irons looking at us in that image. It's quite a juxtaposition, and it's lovely. Spade, is Spade your actual family name, Steve? And
No.
okay. I didn't know that. I actually made the assumption it was, and that you were just blessed with this lovely image behind you.
No, that'd be just too perfect, wouldn't it, really? I remember Hot Press doing an interview with me a few years back, and they were like, so how did you become a magician? And I just had a bit of a crack at them. And I was like, well, actually, when my mum was pregnant, my dad used to tap her on the belly like every night with a magic wand. And your mum was just looking at me like, what? But no, I was just messing. But no, it's not. It's a stage name. I used to wear, I still do like a Spade ring or a T-shirt or whatever. And just doing events early on in my career, this random girl was like, you should just be called Spade. And it just stuck. And then other people started calling it. And then being in Limerick, it was, oh, there's Spade and there's Spade. And it just became, it wasn't really by choice. It kind of just happened. But it's probably the best thing that happened in my career because it's really helped the brand. It's kind of developed it as a brand. As my magician friends call me, the Bono of magic. So it's always a bit of crack with that.
It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and it makes perfect sense, and brands are very important. If you're going to get out there and be known in the world, there's so many Johnny Maloneys. Like Johnny Maloney's got to step out and be something different if he wants to stand out from all the other Johnny Maloneys. I see another image coming in here. Oh my goodness! Right, Steve, over to you again.
Yeah, so that was a charity event we did. It was part of they did it for Enable Ireland, and at the time I was the ambassador for Enable Ireland for the adult services here in Limerick. And they wanted something to draw in a bit of a crowd, and they had it was like a busking day type thing, and I did the finale. So that's a straitjacket, a regulation straitjacket that I had got from the States, and that's 40 feet of chain and 2 padlocks, and at the back of my neck it's actually all held together with a set of handcuffs.
Oh, okay, and what happens next?
Oh no, sorry, I thought you just described the picture. No, so I escaped. I had the tradition with those things usually is you escape in less time than it took to put you into it. So yeah, I got out. I was a bit bruised then after that one and stuff because the weight of that chain is just over 30 kg. So you've got that on you. It's quite restrictive, and obviously the jacket's restrictive anyway. So yeah, normally the straitjacket wouldn't be done with chains, but I decided just to ramp it up a bit.
That's incredible. Thanks indeed for that, Aaron. That was great. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. And I love the nonchalantly. I was a bit bruised after that one.
That was ribs. Ribs. It's always ribs. It's always ribs.
Why is it always ribs, Steve?
It's just the pressure in your torso and in your midsection, because like you have to be reasonably fit. You have to stay conditioned, because at any one time a stunt could arise, and then you've got maybe. Usually it's like 2 to 3 months leading to a stunt, because I'll be training quite hard and I'll be running and swimming and doing everything. And I have very unusual kind of training patterns, and I train with some people for that. And it depends what the stunt is, because sometimes you've got to train your mind even more than the body, just to get rid of that kind of the kind of flight or fight, or the normal thing that we have as a human. Like if you're getting nailed into a box, you have to get the psychology in your mind just that, yeah, this is okay, I've trained for this. This is, so if you panic at that moment, that's when, accidents are going to happen. So you have to kind of zone out from that kind of stuff. So I do a lot of like, just kind of switching off from that and kind of trusting in my ability and the crew now as well, obviously.
It's phenomenal, fascinating stuff. Definitely not, as I say, not the norm, but that's what makes it special. And congratulations, you. I understand this piece about training the mind, but it takes a lot, to get yourself nailed in a box, and the box is going in the water. And if you don't get out, like it's game over, So well done you. Don't try this at home, folks, by the way.
Don't try this at home. And if you do try this at home, I didn't tell you to do it. But I at the time though, like I wanted to trust the people that I was really working with. So it was actually my brother that nailed me into the box for that stunt. And there was and we had done a few rehearsals, but you can't do a rehearsal as it was because it was in Matthews Bridge inside in Limerick, and there was about 3,000 people watching it. With and you can't make everyone look away at the same time. So there's no room for error with stuff like that. And you can't have it fail, and you can't get injured. And we were told actually on the day of the search and rescue, there's a certain time in the year that they release a certain amount of water from and just by luck it was that day, and there was like the levels are a little bit too high for it, and I was like, I'm not being seen to back away from it now. There's too many people here and whatever, and we just did it.
That's heavy stuff. That's heavy stuff. I do understand exactly what you said about you need to trust the crew, and you had your brother nail you into the box. I can't imagine your brother thinking, you remember what that guy did to me when I was small? I'll show him. All right.
Well, I'm the youngest in the family, so I suppose I got away with murder, to be honest. So yeah, it was always that way. But yeah, I mean, as time went on, then I've always made, if I'm ever doing anything big, I always try to tie family into it, because as part of the crew and stuff like that, and they're always really supportive. My dad passed away there in October, nearly 2 years ago now, and he was always so supportive, and he would have helped me with training, and he would have helped me with ideas, and his attitude was always like, if you know you can do it, but don't put yourself in any risk, but it's very hard because there's a really thin line between risk and the effect itself, and sometimes things do go wrong. And
Eamon has just put up that imagery on Matthews Bridge of the you nailed it to that box.
That's my brother there going, he was a nice lad. Yeah, so that was it. We that was the box, and that was just the top picture there where you can just see me in the box. I was also chained up before it as well. I think it was about 20 feet of chain that time. So I was wrapped all around my arms in front of me like a kind of a prayer position, and then it was padlocked on both sides, and then into the box and lowered into the river by a crane.
I've no doubt at all, Steve, that it was the prayer position.
Yeah.
Listen, great stuff. Thank you for that, Eamon. You mentioned your dad, Steve. I'm going to go there if you don't mind. There's a lovely picture. I was going to go to this. There's a lovely picture on your social media. I think it's on your Facebook. And it's you and an older gentleman in suits, period suits, what appears to be periods, or dress suits perhaps. Is that your dad?
Yes, that's my dad, yeah. So that image was done for Movember. I was asked to do that image for Movember, so I did it with my dad. So we went to a dress hire. And I'd actually recommend that with anyone, if your parents are still alive or your grandparents or any loved one, just go and do a photo shoot with them. You'll value that picture forever, because when things happen and time moves on and you might not have the right picture, or you might not have something, if you have a photo shoot picture, you're guaranteed to have one image that you love forever, kind of thing. And I love that image. I absolutely love it. And he is so much. He was a very strong, silent type, my dad, and a very hard-working man. And he would have never been on a photo shoot. That would have been ridiculous to him. But he loved that day. The idea of going, getting the costumes, and we did a series of pictures. But that's definitely my favorite one. You can see in the picture he's really enjoying it. Like.
Yeah, Steve, thank you for going there, because I know you've had a special relationship with your dad, probably still have a special relationship with your dad, even though he's passed on. It was very strong bond there, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, what I do, but he could see the passion in it. You know what I mean? I'm passionate in other things as well, obviously, but he could see that. He was always a driving force. He loved me entertaining people, or he loved seeing their reaction. He kind of lived for that reaction. Like he'd be like, "Oh, do a trick for such and such." You know, he just wanted to see them react to what I could do. And he used to tell people, "Oh, my son's a magician. He'll turn water into wine for you." And even when he passed, I found in one of his jackets, I found just a big stack of my business cards. So yeah, those little things are, you know, it's nice to know that he was proud, you know.
Ah, Steve, that's just a lovely story. And against the backdrops, Eamon, thank you for that lovely picture. That's the picture I was referring to. Gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful image, beautiful image. And I love that. Your dad, when he passed, you found a stack of your business cards in his pocket. Wow.
Yeah.
Happy days, happy days.
Yeah, definitely. More than one pocket as well, actually. But yeah. But he was always doing that. He was always giving people my business card and telling people. You know, he was always proud. When I did the last stunt he saw was my blindfold drive, and him being a mechanic and stuff, he was big into that one. He thought it was great. He thought it was crazy, but he always thought it was crazy. So, you know, there was no difference there.
Great stuff. Eamon, thank you for that lovely picture. Perfect timing. Thank you for that.
He even got interviewed that day that I did the stunt in the race course, the blindfold drive. He got interviewed actually by Live 95 because they were interviewing me, and they had a word with Dad, and it was great. You know, he was always front and center with all that kind of stuff.
It's lovely. I was watching Janie Lazar there from Dublin, and she was leaning in and gave you the boodle bus, and you started talking about going and doing a photo shoot with your relatives, because they won't always be there. And I visited my own folks last Monday for the first time in months and months, and my dad is very proud of his back garden, so he brought me out to show me the back garden. Now I have as much interest in gardening as whatever, pick anything that I don't have any much interest in. But anyway, I managed to get a short video on my phone of my dad and my mom, who rarely comes out in the garden. She came in it as well and just did a quick sort of 360 in the garden, put it in the family WhatsApp group, people in Australia and also all over the place. So it's just a lovely, it's there forever. You know, those moments we've no idea when they happen, and we've no idea when they won't be able to happen. So well done, Steve. Thank you for going there. Really appreciate that. As I said to you,
highly recommend that. Anyone that can do it. It doesn't have to be, you know, it could be a family member, it could be a friend or whatever. But just book a photo. Even after the COVID and everything is opened up and everything, just book a photo shoot. I'm sure the photographers will want the business, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy the day. Just do whatever style you want. I wanted to do that Victorian style, so I decided top hats and tails and just that kind of gentleman thing. I just wanted to do it, and then we tied it in with Movember, because that always had a mustache and things like that, and it was all the cancer prevention for men and all that. So I was trying to help show a little bit of light towards that as well. So we used the images for that as a campaign. I went around and I did close-up magic on the street, and we raised money for Movember that around that time. So it all worked together. It worked really well. So it was really, really good. But I definitely recommend that. You know, it's just a fun thing to do.
It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. And the Bula bus started in Sweden and spread to Kerry and came back into Dublin there, which is great for that. Listen, you mentioned close-up magic. And you had me buy a deck of cards. Ladies and gentlemen, no expense spared. €2. €2. Look at this, right? No expense spared. Unopened until we go on screen here. So, Steve, let's do something. And Eamon, you might line up the explosion piece for later before we go to Q&A. That'd be great. Steve,
cool. So yeah, Colm, if you want to just open the box and just take off there'll probably be a seal and everything, and you'll have to open them and all that. Yeah, talk amongst yourself. I'll fill it with something. Actually, hang on, I'll fill it with this. This will be handy after the recession. You can, anyone that wants to learn this, just send me an email and I'll tell you.
I'm laughing away here. That was just great. Doubled your money. Doubled your money.
Just send me your fibers in the post and I'll send them back to you as a 50. No problem.
Oh, was it a 50? Forgive me. I was looking at a small screen. I apologize. 10x your money. There you go. 10x your money.
yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So just give them a mix.
Okay. Take the two jokers out. So I'm left with 52 cards, right? So you want me to give them a mix? Yeah. Now I don't play cards, so this is going to be awkward as
That's perfect. I'm just going to come in a little bit just so I can see, just you mix them. That's perfect. Yeah, you're mixing perfect. That's how I did. Great. Yeah, and you're just going to slowly just spread the cards from the top, like all the way like this, so people can see.
Facing the camera, Steve, yeah?
Yeah, just spread away.
Okay. Spread.
So to put your thumb, just put your thumb on the back of this and just spread from the front. So you're just going to show them like this so everyone can see them.
Is that working?
Yeah, just keep spreading through so they can see that they're mixed.
Are they mixed?
Okay, that's fine. That's cool. Yeah, so now you're just going to put them on your hand like this.
I'm going to have to take the camera back here, so I'm going to put them on my hand like this. Yes.
You can bring them up like that. Yeah, bring them. Yeah, perfect. So you're just going to cut off a few cards, like 10 or 20 cards.
10 or 20 cards.
Yeah, and you're just going to flip them over and put them back down.
Flip them over and put them back down.
Yeah, so you'll have cards face up. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
And now you're going to dig a bit. Yeah, and you're going to go a bit deeper now, so maybe like 40, 50 cards, whatever, and flip those over and put them back down.
40, 50 cards, flip those over and put them back down. Okay, done.
So Colm, if you want to bring the cards out of the shot now so I can see. Yeah, so if you look down now, you'll be looking at face-up cards. Yeah?
Yep.
So you're just going to spread through, and soon enough you'll find one that's face down, and then you'll find half the deck will be face down.
Okay, so I'm
look down, you'll see.
Out of shot, I'm spreading. I'm looking at face-up cards here now, folks, and I've just come to the first face-down card. Is that right?
Great. Take that face-down card and take it away from the deck.
Take the face-down card and putting it over here away from the deck. I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, perfect. And now get rid of the deck completely.
Rid of the deck completely. €2, folks, down the drain. Don't worry about
it. So you'd be happy that I don't know what card you could have cut to?
Steve, not only do you not know, I don't know.
Okay, perfect. So you don't know, and that's fine. So have a quick look at it now, and we'll continue.
Okay.
Sure you have it?
I'm sure I have it.
Okay, perfect. So just think of the cards, say it over and over in your mind, and look at me. So it's either a red card or a black card. It's a red card. Okay, good man, Colm. It's either a heart or a diamond. A heart. Very interesting. It's an odd or an even. Just think odd or even, and just say it over in your mind like 3 of hearts, 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 3 of hearts. Is that what it was? It wasn't 3 of hearts?
No.
Okay.
I suppose I'm caught up in the production here as well as being your guinea.
It's okay. So what was the card? Because I'm picking up the 3 for some reason.
It's an 8, and it was 8 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds. Okay, quite similar to the 3 of hearts, but that's okay. But what shows is interesting is I have a new deck of cards here.
Okay.
And they're all in new deck order. You said it's 8 of diamonds, was it?
8 of diamonds, yeah.
8 of diamonds. I'm going to go in and take out the 8 of diamonds, just so it's fair. Like this. 8 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds, yep.
And I'm going to leave the 8 of diamonds just, I'll leave it here, just inside my shirt. All right, so you can see it the whole time. Because on the back of this cards, there's like a little stick figure. Can you see that? And if I move it up along, you'll actually see him starting to change just a little bit. You see him starting to actually crawl into the cannon. See that? So you said the 8 of diamonds. I was picking up the 3 of hearts, and it's kind of weird, and I'll tell you why in a second. But if you watch the cannon, watch. He's going to climb into the cannon. He's going to throw the cards up in the air. He's going to dive in. He's going to grab one card on the way out. He's going to grab your card that you didn't even know that you'd cut the 8 of diamonds.
Oh my goodness. Steve Spade. Right. Show's over, folks. I am blown away. I was feeling guilty. I was feeling, my God, I'm after leading this guy astray.
Not at all. No. It was all down the garden path.
Oh man, I am so blown away with that.
Yeah. No, that's such a huge kind of premise within Magic, to make them think one thing and then flip it. It's literally the rug from under your feet kind of thing.
Oh,
sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I've seen this stuff happen to other people, and I'm thinking, oh yeah. Right, did not see that one coming. Well done, my friend. Well done.
You could have cut to any card. We didn't set anything up. It was a brand new deck, all that.
Any card, like that's what I genuinely felt that I had misled you with something in my demeanor.
There you go. So there's the this little cartoon figure, and there's 8 of diamonds. You could have named any card, and it wouldn't have worked. But there you go, the 8 of diamonds.
Oh, that was just magical. There, I used the term, just magical it was. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you, Steve. That was gorgeous. Come here, we'll go to Q&A in just a few minutes, if you don't mind. Before we do, what's it been like in COVID? What are you expecting will happen for your industry post-COVID?
Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, like nobody was ready for the world is closing. Fasten your seatbelts. So it definitely, everyone's have to adapt. I mean, I've been lucky in one way that I've been able to do a lot more of these kind of meetings and interviews with people. I've been doing some podcasts and things with some magicians in the States. I did one the other night in California. I did one in Los Angeles, and I've done some local ones as well. And I'm actually considering setting up my own podcast for magicians because there isn't that side of things in Ireland that much. But it's good. It's just good time to kind of sit down and be creative too, and just kind of get ready. Because I mean, when it comes back, and it will at some point, because I mean, entertainment like this, what I do, has been around since the pharaohs in Egypt, and a lot of things have happened since then, and it's never died out. The first documented trick was the cup and balls, and it was done for pharaohs. So it will come back around. It'll be a little bit different. It might be more online. It might be more interactive. It might be more stage magic. Close-up magic might be a thing of the past, and maybe it'd be more stage or illusion. I don't know, but I'll be ready to adapt whatever way it is.
Great stuff, great stuff. Round of applause there. I
know you probably missed it, Colm, because I turned the fiver into a 50, but I'll show you the trick that everyone hates.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is COVID just there.
Yeah. That's it in one trick.
That's just ingenious, my friend. That was just gorgeous. I'm going to ask Eamon. Eamon, might you be ready for the? So we're going to go to the big stunt from last year, if that's okay. And while Eamon is setting this up for us, what are you taking with you from COVID?
Taking movement comment to give myself time to every now and again just sit back and kind of evaluate kind of everything. I think we all get very busy, and it's just for me it was like to the next show or to the next project or whatever it was, and there was no time to kind of sit down and reflect. And now this is the most time I've had off my entire life. Even when I go to other countries for holidays and stuff, I always end up performing. When you're a magician, you're always a magician. There's never an opportunity to say, oh, I don't have anything on you, and I can do tons of magic with no props whatsoever. So I rarely take a day off because you kind of can't. You're kind of always on. But definitely COVID has definitely just made me just kind of reevaluate kind of everything.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for that. I think it's done the same for a lot of people. So it's nice to hear your perspective. That's one of the joys of this show. This is the 74th perspective we've had on COVID and what's going to happen afterwards. So Steve Spade, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Do you want to talk us through this? Do you want to aim to press play, or what do you want us to do?
Yeah, actually, that image is interesting because I went down to see. Initially, they wanted me to. So it was a challenge escape. I'll go back to the start really quickly. So I was talking to Dad about 6 months before he passed, and I said to him, "What am I going to do in the future? What's going to be the next?" Because I've done, like I said, you mentioned all the crazy things I've done in the past. I was kind of running out of mad things to do. And he was like, maybe you could kind of think of the Houdini, because Houdini used to take a lot of challenges from people. So if you made the world's strongest steel, Houdini would break it, and all this kind of stuff. So I put up this. Dad had passed away, and then the new year had come in January. I put up this. I was feeling brave about 12:30 at night. I remember sitting on my couch, having a glass of whiskey, kind of feeling sorry for myself. And I went, do you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. So I put an Instagram post up saying, I'm Ireland's Houdini, blah, blah, blah. If you want to challenge me, come and challenge me, kind of a thing. So I ignored a lot of the ones that I got because it was a lot of unusual ones. There was even one with a donkey, which I won't go into. But as you can imagine, there was a lot of weird things. But the one that popped up was that company, Blair's in Northern Ireland, and they sent me an email initially, and I kind of ignored it, to be honest, because I didn't really know where they kind of taken it seriously. And then about a week later, not even a week, they had made a call-out video and put it and tagged me on it further on my Facebook. And it was like, hi, we're Blair's holiday camp, and we're challenging Ireland's Houdini to come to Ireland. We want you to do a stunt with a wrecking ball and a mobile home, and we want to chain you up and see, put your money where your mouth is, kind of thing. And I was like, right, they're deadly serious. And as the stunt escalated, I had to get involved with the stunt crew, and I was able to get pyrotechnics involved. And the guy who rigged it was the guy who worked on Game of Thrones. And I wanted to just ramp it up. So I was like, if I'm doing it, I'm kind of doing it as big as I can. And they changed it then to a shipping container because they were able to get one easily from Belfast from the shipyard. And they didn't want me to use a wrecking ball because they believed that if it would only hit the front, that I'd be able to escape and run to the back. They wanted to crush the whole mobile home. So there was loads of little obstacles as it went along. And even when I went up to do the last run through, and I'll explain that picture in a second, the last run through is they said, we don't want you to use your own chains or padlocks. We want them supplied by a hardware store on the morning of the stunt. And the guy who owns the hardware shop wants to put them on you. So I looked at the crew looked at me, and I went, yeah, I'll accept your last challenge. And we went with it. That picture was taken by my girlfriend, who was standing behind me when I walked down to see the shipping container being brought in. And that was the first time that I had actually saw that's the morning of the stunt.
It's staggering already, and those at every hand's turn that the stunt was getting more and more difficult and more dangerous, dare I say. So, Eamon, thank you for that. And Eamon, do we have an image for that for the final frame, if you like, of that? We have. So we'll go there whenever Eamon's got it. So essentially, talk us through the stunt, please, if you wouldn't mind, Steve, and then Eamon at the very end will just pull up that last image, please.
Yeah. So the stunt. So there was they invited us. It was in a caravan camping site and a chalets and kind of holiday home park in Portrush in Northern Ireland. And they had initially challenged me. So then we had to go up. We had to look at the site and everything else. And then on the morning of the stunt, there was 4,000 people there in a kind of a semicircle partition area where they were watching everything. And then I was chained up in front of everyone in the center, put onto kind of like a decking chair type thing, chained to that by my hands and feet, by their chains and their locks. The paramedics were there. They checked, vitals, and they checked heartbeat, made sure that I didn't pass out or was overexerted or anything. Then I was lifted into the mobile home in full view at the main bay window, the front window of a mobile home. I'm sure everyone knows. That was all. There was no curtains or anything, just placed inside there. Everyone could see me. They wanted to throw a little kicker in at the end and just be like, "Can you do it with a hood on?" Because they wanted this kind of a hostage look kind of a thing, and to make it a little bit difficult, even more difficult. But the real issue I had that morning was the fact I can pick locks, I can pick handcuffs, I can do that. I put hours and hours and hours and years of practice into that. But you need to see the lock at least to have an idea of what you had. And all I had was a paper clip. That's all they gave me. I can do it with the tools, but I can do it with a paper clip. So this is one of those things that, like, a lot of magicians think, oh, I'll do a stunt and I get my name in the paper and it'll be great. But if you're not going to put in the hours and hours of work, then you really are risking your life. And and Houdini was the first to say it, and David Blaine as well. You should never be in a position that you're actually scaring the audience to the point that you're incompetent and something could go wrong. Nobody wants to see anyone get injured, really. I know that kind of energy is there, that you're like, oh, what if it goes wrong? I'll be there when it goes wrong, kind of thing. But that's just your normal human reaction to something daredevilish or something death-defying. And Houdini said it best, that the best way to draw a crowd is risking your life.
Phenomenal stuff. And Eamon has just said the video is 10 minutes long, so we won't have an opportunity to show the full video here. But he's going to put up an image. What are you going to give us there, Eamon? And we'll just, here we go. Steve, back to you. Oh, tell us what's just after happening here, please, Steve. Thank you, Eamon.
Yeah, so there's a countdown, and the shipping container is slowly being raised up because it's actually sitting on. So I'm inside the mobile home. That bottom flame is the mobile home pretty much, and at that point, and I was inside the main. Yeah, you can see it there from that image. I was inside that main window, and the shipping container was resting right on the roof, not touching, but just resting barely on it. And then it was slowly being brought up and brought up and brought up, and I was still in view. And then the crew all pushed off the area. People weren't that far back though, maybe only like 30, 40 feet from the main enclosure, and then another bit back just for the blast. And as the shipping container was going up, the Q radio was doing the commentary, and they were like, and now remember that Steve is, preparing now to do the escape and everything. And as it started going up, it was going up to a certain point, and then there was going to be a countdown. But as it went up, it was up to only about halfway, and then it went up quite quickly, and then it prematurely snapped and dropped, and the whole thing blew up, and there was big panic, and ambulances flew in, and the crew all ran in and everything, and I kind of explained what I was going to do to the crew knew obviously, but my family didn't, and they were in the front row, and my girlfriend, and I definitely got a few pounds in the chest afterwards about you. Beep 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 beep, and but I got out, and then while all the commotion's happening, I appeared in the crowd with everyone with flares in behind them, and just scared the life out of everyone.
Steve Spade. Steve Spade. There's a moment, huh? So in other words, you magicked yourself out of this ball of flame. The place you'd been in was crushed by a shipping container, right?
Thanks, everyone.
So, and it was crushed quicker than had been planned, and you end up magicking yourself out, coming in behind the crowd. And as you say, your family didn't know. I'm quite sure you got a few clouts for that.
Yeah. My girlfriend was totally freaked out. It was like the crew knew what we were doing, but it took the audience off guard completely, and it just because I mean even we couldn't work out what the stunt would be exactly, but even afterwards the time between me going in, it being closed up and boarded up, and the drop, even if you try to comprehend it, there's no time to get from where I was to where I appeared. So even me, even though I know how we did it, even watching it back, I'm like, yeah, it's nearly impossible. But when I did the King John's illusion, like you said a while ago, the burnt at a stake, I was burned at a stake, and when it completely erupted, I appeared at the top of the castle with an air horn, and I appeared on a tower in King John's Castle that you can't actually get to by any stairwell. So that had everyone scratching their head.
And Steve, I happened to have been there that night.
There you go.
I didn't go because it said Steve Spade's going to be burned at the stake. I promise. I went just to see the illusion.
Like a witch burning, yeah.
But it was incredible. So so the stake erupts in flames in this ancient castle, and next thing your man's up with an air horn on a turret. Incredible stuff. Steve Spade, this is definitely a first on the Coffee at 11 show. It's been a pleasure. It's been great fun.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Folks, going to go to Q&A from the floor. Anybody want to comment on this? Anybody want to volunteer? All the hands are staying down. Lisa, were you about to?
Yeah, I put it in the comments there, Steve. Wow, it's mind-blowing what you do. But I just wanted to say it's fantastic that you support, different charities. Really, that's super. And I'm sure it's really, really effective for them, because what you do is so out there. It's incredible. I also wanted to say, can I send you a big batch of fivers to be converted, please? And your poor partner and family, oh my God, their nerves must be shot. I'd say, God love them. So what you do is fantastic. Very proud to have you, to claim you as an Irish Houdini. So kudos to you. It's fantastic. And please stay safe.
Thanks very much, Lisa. Yeah, I know. My mom has gone grey, and she has been for many years, and it's totally my fault. Every grey hair is my fault. But no, they've been always very supportive, and it is a very demanding career at times. And there's plenty of ups and downs, and like every career and every business. But you always try to stay kind of consistent, and you're only as good as your last gig, kind of a thing. I've always believed that. So, you know, there's more stunts. There was meant to be one this year in September, and it got postponed, unfortunately. But I've got a bucket list of about 5 that I still want to do. And then there's 1 or 2 that I want to collaborate with some other performers as well and just do something a little bit different. But I would like to do something like, kind of like on the lines of like David Blaine and stuff like that, some big endurance thing, because I think the beauty of those things is like when Houdini used to do his big shows in the vaudeville era, if you couldn't afford to come and see him, which a lot of people can't go to see live shows or theater shows, he would always do a big public stunt. It would ramp up the obviously ticket sales, but it was also for everyone. So everyone got to taste, what Houdini was about, or kind of feel the magic. So it was for everyone, and I think that big public display stuff, it really draws people in. I mean, even when I went up to Northern Ireland, I went up there with not knowing kind of anyone. I had no fans up there, or nobody really, to come out and see me. 4,000 people odd came out to see me. They were all a bit standoffish maybe at the start, kind of like, what's this all about? The explosion happened. Everyone thought I was gone. I appeared behind them, and I got kids running up to me with bits of the mobile home for me to sign. I had old women hugging me and kissing me, and it was just mad. It's mad how you see that flip happen. People's human response kind of comes in about, well, he's after doing something and we're going to appreciate him. It was almost like a kind of an instinct more than a kind of a reaction. So it is. It's definitely something that makes people kind of question. And even Einstein said kind of that mystery is the most kind of beautiful thing that we have. So, and there's very little mystery left in the world. So I suppose me and a lot of my friends and colleagues, we all, that's what we're trying to do. We don't do it as an ego thing. We do the magic because it's reaction, seeing people's reaction. My dad was correct. Like, getting people to react and seeing that reaction is what makes me keep doing it.
Excellent.
Steve, lovely stuff. Thank you. And Lisa, thank you for that comment. We'd normally go to Princess Shelley. Just going to bring Eamon Smith in real quick, if you don't mind, because Eamon, you did a sterling job pulling those slides together. So thank you for that. So Eamon, just want to ask a quick question, then over to you, Princess Shelley. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure, Colm. Steve, thanks a million for this morning. And listen, some of those slides were just got on the fly. I didn't have them from before, but with the way the conversation was going, I just hope they did you justice, because thank you so much. That was amazing.
Absolutely, Amy. Yeah, no problem. That was great. Thank you. And it's great to have just a visual just to explain off of, because even when I'm trying to, it's funny, but even when I'm, because I'm so proficient with a deck of cards and I have been since forever, even when I'm explaining tricks to the stunt crew, I'm explaining it with a deck of cards. It's like a heist movie. It's like, so you're the 2 of spades and you're going to be over here, and you're the whatever. And I actually explain kind of what we're doing to the crew with a deck of cards. So to have a visual was a great aid. Thank you.
Cool. My pleasure. So my question for you, Steve, is because these days all things mindful and grounding and getting back into the present, if you like, are super important to me, and they help me kind of piece all the pieces together. Can I ask you, with all of the incredible work that you do, could you share maybe 1 or 2 of your, let's say, favorite go-to grounding tips, things that work for Steve Spade, things that completely get you into the moment? You've so much to think about and so much to prepare. What do you do to not think, just be here, just get grounded?
Before I even go on stage, I often do, and a lot of performers do, maybe like a few just jumping jacks, nothing to get like too kind of warm or sweaty or anything, but just a few jumping jacks, maybe a few press-ups or something like that. If I'm nervous or anxious before I go on stage, I always curl my toes. It definitely works. Even if you kind of just kind of rub your hands as well, but I'd always be kind of warming up my hands. I've got a few exercises that I have to do for that. So I'm kind of getting into the zone of performing maybe, a half an hour before I perform. If I'm doing a stunt, I'm probably getting into the zone for that, at least 48 hours before, and just switch myself off. For the only thing that matters coming up is the next piece that I'm doing. I do kind of switch obviously into, I'm not that dark, moody character that's in all my pictures, really. I'm a very easygoing guy that doesn't take himself too seriously. I think you kind of I have to switch off into the Spade kind of thing when I need to kind of get into that mindset for something.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Steve.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Eamon. Thank you, and thanks for those great slides. And a lot of work went into pulling those together last minute, so really appreciate that, Eamon. Thank you very much indeed. It's all about crew, as you say yourself, Steve, and this is blessed with this wonderful crew. Steve, great stuff. Over to Princess Shelley. Thank you.
Hey, Steve. It's certainly your easygoing nature when you say about the dark and moody of the photographs, you know, and you're so lovely to listen to and so easily relatable, and it just makes you a pleasure just to have on the show. We've some lovely comments and a lot of love for Steve Spade in the cafe. Lisa Chalfa kicked off, who we just spoke to in Galway, saying that she loved your images. They want the early ones that we were seeing at the very start of the interview with the handcuffs and all that. Was it 20 or 40 feet of chain? And James then said, well, you were saying it was for charity. You were ambassador for Enable, I think you said, wasn't it?
That's correct,
yeah, James said that we have a very different interpretation of charity. So thanks for that, James. We have a few other your comments always make me giggle, James. We'll come to one of those in a moment. Janie was wondering, I have a couple of very brief questions. Janie was wondering if you have any problems getting insurance, Steve. How does a fella like you do insurance, or is that something that's a problem for you?
I'd nearly say no comment, but no, it's always fun getting insurance. The way I'm lucky in one way, because magicians have come to me in the past and said, I'd love to do this stunt, you know, or whatever, and I'd say, yeah, you can do it. But the red tape of getting a stunt from paper to actually performing it can be huge sometimes. Even getting permission or trying to close off a street or anything it's nearly impossible. That's the most impossible thing about doing stunts in Ireland, is actually getting the permission to do them. That's what I found in the past, and I'm lucky in the last few years that some of the bigger ones, I'm going through the crew, and they have you know, stuntman insurance type thing, and they can waiver a lot of different stuff. I've never had direct insurance for anything I've done myself. I always sign it off as a waiver that it's too dangerous to be insured, so I'm not going to be insured myself.
I like that. Too dangerous to be insured.
Yeah, so I've always done that myself. Public liability for anyone that's there, obviously, because it's an event and things like that. But that's usually kind of all organised. But I make it a thing. I did it one time just with the lads. Just thought it'd be funny. I rang a few insurance companies and I just told them what I was doing, and you could just hear that kind of what in that deep swallow, and it was just a bit of fun. But no, I kind of ramp it up that it's too dangerous to, I can't insure myself.
Oh, I love that. I like that answer. Perfect. It's too dangerous to insure. That says it for me. I think you've already kind of answered. Anne Kristen, who's joining us in Malmo in Sweden, said, will you always strive to the next worst ever, never seen before challenge, or have you found your level of performance? And you said that you had a list of other things that you're hoping to do. And she also asked, have you any casual fears, spiders or lightning or getting an injection or anything like that, which I thought was a really interesting question, Anne Kristen. So if you'd just like to touch on that briefly, Steve, it sounds like there's more and more danger to come by the list of things that you have, and any casual fears.
Yeah, a few casualties. Dislocated a shoulder. I'll tell you a story. I did another, it was actually an event, and it was in the Crescent Shopping Centre here in Limerick, and I was in a straitjacket, and it was a rope escape as well, as far as I remember. But they were doing, it was kind of a fundraiser, and it was an event, and it was a show really, but it was an event, and I was there, and while I was doing the stunt, I dislocated this thumb. My thumb popped all the way back, and it was back here. And the stunt, everyone's cringing now. It was sore. It was very sore. But what happened was my thumb got caught in the belt loop of the jacket, and it just popped back. So the stunt went ahead. I was only 10 seconds into the stunt or so. I got out of the jacket. I got out of everything. It all ended. Everyone's clapping. First thing, what do Irish people want to do when you succeed at anything? They run over and shake your hand.
Oh,
so,
okay.
A couple of people shaking my hand. I'm grinning and bearing to it. I was like, the adrenaline will get me over. It's just sore. It's fine. I turned to like pick up the jacket off the ground, and my whole hand had blown out. Like, it was just all swollen. And this lovely woman, and I don't know who she was, she ran down to the Boots chemist, bought me an ice pack, ran back up and handed it to me, while her kid was like nearly like crying and waving at me. I put it on my hand, and I had to get physio on it for a while. I dislocated my shoulder one time.
You see, Steve, what I think Anne Kristen was asking is, are you scared of anything? Is there anything you're scared of, like spiders?
Oh, sorry, I thought you said injury. Yeah, I could draw a picture of a stick man and just like, I broke this, and I did. I am scared of anything. I don't like needles. I actually don't like needles. And what's weird about that is there's a couple of tricks I do with needles, but I hate actually injections. And the reason why is because I went to the dentist years ago and a needle broke off in my mouth.
Oh my goodness me.
I could go Irish healthcare there. Thanks very much. So yeah, but it just came out. The needle came away from the thing, and it was just a dentist appointment or whatever. But the needle came away from it, and I actually produced a short horror movie called Cavity based on that story. But it was obviously a dark horror. I produced some short film, and I direct as well. So that was.
Wow. That's definitely a rule.
But that actually came from that kind of little traumatic experience. But I still hate needles.
Little traumatic experience, and it's and Anne Kristen is a nurse, so that's what she actually mentioned, injections. So I'm gonna have to. We could actually have about 10 shows with you, Steve. You've so much a great story. James Finnegan was saying that his wife can do that trick with the 50s down to a fiver, and she thinks he can do the trick from 5 up to 50s. Kathy Mera, who's joining us in the States, said that she'd never seen Colm flustered before. And someone else said that actually along here, that Colm looked so flustered when he thought he'd messed up the trick. And like that, I was watching, the hands went to the head and the eyes doubled in size. It was a real magic, literal magic piece in the show. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to have to pop off, guys. Everybody has got loads and loads of great comments. They'll get emailed to you, Steve. So you'll be able to see all the comments, everyone. So if you'd like to pop something in there, Steve will still get to see them. Eamon's popped the links in to your stunts, and I'll certainly be accessing them to have a look at them after the show today. So thanks for those links, Eamon, and have a look at the chat box there, everybody. And I'll pass back to Colm. And I'm sorry if I didn't get to everybody's comment. There you go, back Colm.
Oh, indeed, blew the bus around the entire cafe there for the Princess Shelley piece. That was just lovely. And Lisa and Eamon, thank you for coming in on that. But Steve, it really has been a great show. It's really been a real show. With you inflating money 10x and then deflating it 10x and magicking up your cup of coffee. And you're absolutely right. I was genuinely feeling for my guest that I'm after messing up this poor man's trick. And in fact, you pulled it out of the bag and, stunning, absolutely stunning. Okay, yeah, folks. I'm
sorry about that. I did that to Dahi O'Shea on the Daily Show. I was the resident magician on that a couple of years back for about a year. And I did that. I only did the first 3 shows, and I was trying to get a feel for Dahi and everyone. But I just said like that, live TV, and I just said same as that, something similar to that. Dahi got it wrong, kind of a thing, and he started panicking, and he was like, "Oh, sure, I could pick another one. I could pick another one now, or something, or whatever." And I was like, "Oh no, it's okay. Just take a look there in your jacket." And the torn corner was in his pocket, and but yeah, look, you have to throw in those little curveballs. It can't be too perfect.
Well, do you know what? The curveball hit me square in the face. I was for sure, but anyway, listen, it was great. Absolutely wonderful. Steve, thank you very much indeed for being here today. Just a lovely, lovely, lovely show. Folks, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the cafe tomorrow on the Cafe 11 show. Catherine McGeechie is joining us tomorrow, a Scot from the clan that helped Bonnie Prince Charlie escape to France. Living here in Ireland now, and she's a mentor and very interested in helping the individual grow and very interested in the connection with the divine. So I'm really excited to have Catherine come on the show tomorrow, episode 75. And the background to that, very briefly, we had Pat Falvey on the show some weeks back, and he says to me live, he says, "You need to have Catherine McGeechie on the show." And I said, "Great." I said, "Catherine, pick a number between whatever number we were then and 100. She said 75. So that's it. That's the date of the show. So Catherine's in tomorrow. Please come in tomorrow to meet the lovely Catherine McGeechie, and let's have a chat. I want to thank, as ever, the crew. Not the team.
Do you mind for just a moment? Can I teach you one trick so you can go away and do something for your friends and family?
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. Please do.
All you need is an elastic band. One elastic band. And you're just going to use these fingers and just put that elastic band around your fingers. You can double it over if you want. So like that. You put it around your hand like this, and it's going to jump. And it can jump back, obviously, so just like this.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm not sure that you taught us how to do it. You showed us. Was it?
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to learn it? Do you want to learn? Yeah. So double it over, put it on twice like this. So like this. So as you close your hand, you're just going to put your fingers in. And then when you snap, it jumps over. And you put it back in. You snap, it goes back. So. And if you get very good, you can do it that way.
Right. Steve Spade. Fantastic.
Yeah. So if you figure out how to do it, send me a video of you doing it.
And you get one of those magic fibers, do you?
Yeah. Send me in the post. You put up my address afterwards, or send them to Colm and he'll send them to me.
I will. Yeah, I will. Listen, back to the crew. Princess Shelley, thank you very much for producing today's show. Heart emoji. Eamon Smith, aka the Monk, for keeping us safe, secure, and projectionist supreme. And the lovely Katrina O'Brien. There you are, Katrina. Lovely to have you in the cafe. And thank you for making this beautiful later on and getting it out for social media. It'll probably go out tomorrow at this stage. See, we've got something on this evening, so it'll go out tomorrow on social media. But looking forward to meeting Catherine tomorrow. Thank you, wigwam.ie, SME Peer Support, for their support. And I'll just finish the show as I always do by saying, Steve Spade, namaste.
Perfect, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks for having me. And I hope you enjoyed the magic and some of my crazy stories. And have a nice day.